So now we're here to talk all the things Loop. Season three, this phenomenal cast. How much fun are you having with this project? I mean, this literally seems like a world of like so much fun.
It 100% is. I feel very fortunate to be a part of it. I think this is, it's been a somewhat challenging time over the past few years with,
Yeah.
starting with COVID and then the strike, and so I just feel very happy to be working in general. Um, and then on top of that, to get to work with, very, very talented and funny people. I mean, it really starts in the writer's room,
Mhm.
always. And
Yeah.
so a huge credit to the writing staff because I think
Mhm.
they've done an incredible job sort of giving us a very fun canvas to play on. And I think especially this season, things felt even like they ramped it up and it got even funnier, which is,
Yeah.
a feat in and of itself because I think the first two seasons were great. So I just feel very fortunate. And I've also known some of these people, like I've known Maya
Yeah.
for a very long time since our
Mhm.
days at the Groundlings Theater. So
Mhm.
it's like going to work is like going to be with old friends. So I feel very fortunate.
I love that. If you had to choose, which season would you say thus far has been your favorite season?
Oof, that's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say it might be this season,
Mm-hmm.
because I think obviously, naturally with the more time you have with the characters, the more,
Yeah.
you sort of you understand them. You get their voices, their points of view. You
Mm-hmm.
can tap into a little bit your history with them. I
Okay.
think the first season is very exciting because it all feels new and fresh, but you're
Mhm.
still sort of figuring it out. And I think the writing staff is figuring out how to write for you or what you write
Yeah.
for your character a little bit. And then once those sort of, tracks have been established a little bit, then I feel like you can have a little bit more fun, branching out and putting different characters together and, exploring different kind of fun themes and relationships. So, uh,
Yeah.
I think the more you go along, I don't know, you've lived with them long enough to sort of, I think, feel comfortable making the choices that you're making.
Yeah. Now let me ask you what Arthur, for the viewers who have yet to check out the series, this
How
particular
dare them?
season.
How dare them?
I know, like, what world are they living in? Like, come on. But would you say that Arthur, your character, finally like finds a solid footing this go round? And like, where can we see that relationship going between Arthur and
Mhm.
Molly?
Yeah, I would say yes and no to that question. I think
Oh,
there is a certain level of, finally Arthur finding a little bit of comfort and can sort of relax a little bit into the relationship as we've sort of
yeah.
seen thus far. Um, but I think as the season goes on, all those obstacles and complications that come with being in a relationship start to
Yeah.
float to the top a little bit. And so while I do think he's more comfortable and he can kind of relax into himself a little bit this season, and he's a little bit out of his head in certain aspects, I
Yeah.
do think, like what I love about it is that it feels very true to anybody's relationship that they might have. You sort of go
Yeah.
through those times where you're trying to make sacrifices, or you're trying to you know give the other person what they want, but not necessarily at the cost of who you are. And so you're sort of balancing the give with the take a little bit, and trying to preserve a little bit of your own sense of self. And I think Arthur, it goes through that about a bit this season.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think like implementing a little bit of yourself when it comes to working with the producers and the directors. Like, are
Mm.
you or anyone from the cast able to have like, how do we say, like a little bit of flexibility with throwing out ideas or things that you would like to see tweaked or changed with your character? Like when you're filming and you're on set, do you have that opportunity as an actor at all?
Yeah, I would
Oh,
say it's a very collaborative set. I mean, I think, early on in the process, they have the writers have a writer's room and they
yeah,
work on sort of the arcs of the season and kind of where they see it going. And then they very generously have us individually in during that process and sort of map out a little bit of, what they are excited about and where they kind of feel like the character is going.
yeah,
And it's in that kind of meeting where I think we all are, fun, creative people, and so can offer ideas or can offer suggestions or can say, or just what I usually do is like, great, that sounds awesome. I can't wait. But I think if I did have, anything valuable to contribute, I would 100% do it. But I love that they sort of give us that opportunity to kind of be part of the conversation. And it's very much the same way with the directors that we have on set during, on the
yeah,
day. It's a lot of people, they bring back a decent amount of people that we've worked with before, and then even the new directors that are brought in are sort of understand, there are great established comedy people themselves, so they kind of, they slide right in very easily. So it does feel very collaborative. I do love
yeah.
that about the show. I feel very comfortable if I ever had an issue or if I ever had an idea or a thought or I was, butting up against something, it would be a very easy conversation to sort of have. Luckily, I don't have a lot of those conversations because I really enjoy the journey that my character goes on. So I have very little to say.
And I think like speaking to the aspect of characters, this season, the starring guests, like they just blew my mind. Like, what are your thoughts around the guests that like popped
Yeah.
in and out of season three? I'm like, yo, this was
Yeah.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
Henry Winkler.
I
Like,
know. I know.
yeah. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
about that?
It's very exciting, I think,
Yeah.
because one, I think, I feel like the success maybe of the show attracts good
Yeah.
comic people that want to work on the show. And so that makes you feel good because you're like, oh, I think we're doing something good here, guys, because
Yeah.
these are really good people that want to come and do our thing. Uh,
Yes.
and yeah, it just elevates, I think, your game when you have people like that coming in. I mean, Henry Winkler is like a legend. And so to be able to like, just sit in a cast chair, even not on
Yeah.
camera, and just to hang out and talk to him feels, I feel very fortunate. The same with like Paula Pell was hilarious in the episode that she did, and I broke a lot, I laughed a lot, I enjoyed watching her and Maya like throw down,
Yeah.
and Darcy Carden is an old friend who makes me laugh just with anything she says. I feel like Adam Scott, who's been on the show for a while, same way. So I feel,
Mhm.
and there's so many others, but I just feel like, you know, you hope to put out a good product and then you hope that
Yeah.
product attracts other good people to come and work on the show. And that sort of feels like what's happening. And I feel, very lucky that that is the case.
I love that. When we're looking at the overall big picture of the cast, who
Hmm.
would you say is most like their character, and who would you say is least like their character in real life?
That's good question. I mean, it's, I would say, sadly, there's a lot of parallels between Arthur and myself.
So listen, so pause right there. When I tell you, I literally feel like in real life, you're probably most like your character. And I don't know why I feel like Ron also, like
Ron is very
those.
much like his character. Yeah,
Yeah. So you
yeah.
would say you're most like your character in
I
real
would
life.
say I've definitely owned a pair of pleated khakis on more than one occasion in my life. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna own up to it. I'm gonna say that, I put on the wardrobe and then I'm like, oh, man, this isn't bad. And then I go out and people are like, oh God, you look like such a dork. And I'm like, yeah. Definitely. I definitely look like such a dork, totally. And secretly, I'm like, I kind of like this shirt. Uh,
Right.
so I would say yes. I probably there are a lot of similarities between Arthur and myself.
So,
Ron, very much so. I think they also dress Ron very much like he dresses in real life, and he's,
mhm,
just a very sweet, loving, bubbly person. And I feel like Howard is very
mhm.
much that way on the show. Uh, I would say maybe the most person that's unlike their character might be Michaela J. I think
Okay.
she is uh, and that's a compliment to her acting because I feel like secretly she's kind of like this, fun, silly, very goofy, kind
Yeah.
of almost, like wild card, rebellious little, like
Hmm.
person who is and Sophia, I think, is very buttoned up and very, sort of by the book a little bit on the show. And so hanging out with Michaela J, and she's like playing a video game with Ron, and she's like, cackling and watching some silly video. Like it just feels very like a departure from her character, and
Mm.
which is a compliment in the sense that she's so believable as Sophia.
Yeah. How many seasons would you like to see? Like, if this
Uh,
was your favorite world, and if you had to say, like, how many seasons would you like to see this show go on for?
I mean, I'm gonna say 11.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
no, I mean, I'm just selfishly saying that because I really enjoy the job and I really enjoy the
Yeah.
people, and uh it shoots in LA, which is where I live, so there's a lot of wonderful things about the show, and I really enjoy going to work and laughing every day and being with talented people that make you want to do better. So the
Yeah.
more, the better for me. But yeah, I think, what do they say? Like 6 seasons in a movie? That
Yeah, that
feels
right.
reasonable, right? That feels reasonable.
Nat,
Yeah.
so listen, you're an Oscar award winning individual. You have an Oscar. If I'm not mistaken, you have been a part of a little bit over 120 projects at this point,
Wow.
if
Really?
not more.
Wow.
Yeah, if not more.
Wow.
That being said, what keeps you going?
Mm.
And like, what would reaching the pinnacle of like your career look like for you personally?
I I really enjoy the people that I've gotten to know through
Yeah.
the work that I've done. And I don't necessarily, all the award, like any sort of award stuff would be gravy, and I wouldn't, I'm sure I would feel great about being recognized, but it's truly about the relationships, getting to work with different people, getting to work with old friends, getting to work with people that I admire. I think being able to sustain that for another, 25 years or whatever, I would be enough for me. I think just to be able to work and do what I love and to do what I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do, to be able to have a career where I'm able to continue to do that and sustain that, I think that would fill my bucket, as they say.
Who are some of the people that you look up to in the industry?
Mm, I look I look up to the the people that are nice and kind people. I
Mm,
I really,
yeah.
life is a little too short to work with people that are difficult or dramatic or
Yeah.
selfish or
Yeah.
that, sort of make it. all about themselves and have too big of an ego to sort of open themselves to other people. So I look up to the people that are funny and kind and a joy to be around, you know.
Hmm.
Um, Speaking of Henry Winkler, like he was the nicest man. And
Yeah.
I was like, you've had this incredible career and you
Yeah.
continue to, work and you are, terrific in all that you do. And on
Mhm.
top of that, I admire you more just because you're a nice, sweet person who is
Mhm.
giving, who is gentle, who is,
Yeah.
just a generous person. And those are the people that I am attracted to because I feel like we are lucky to get to do what we do, and
Yeah.
should there's no reason not to be that way,
Yeah. I should have known that would be your answer instead of you just throwing out, certain names of, legends and icons in the industry because you're a Libra. You just had a birthday October 11th. My
That's
birthday is
right.
October 17th. So we love kind people,
That's
genuine
right.
people.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right. Yes.
Before I let you go, like what would you say thus far has been the most memorable takeaway for you, particularly for like with this project with Loot?
Um, I would say that, I mean, in line with sort of, dovetailing in sort of what I just said, is that it takes a lot to get these projects off the ground, and
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot to push this ball up the hill, so to speak. So, or the rock up the mountain, whatever the metaphor is. But uh, I would say it really takes everybody sort of working together to accomplish a certain goal. And it starts with the creators of the show, and then starts with the writers, and then it starts with the actors, and then very importantly, it has to do with the crew too, and the people that are there that are doing like all the really all the work to
Yeah.
produce this show. And so when you have everybody sort of congruently and cohesively working together to sort of
Mm-hmm.
make that happen, I think you can be successful. But it does take everybody sort of, rowing in the same direction. I'm just going to keep throwing out overused metaphors.
No, I love it.
But it really is a tribute to, I think, teamwork. And,
Yeah.
it's I've been on both sides of it, and I've written
Mm-hmm.
stuff and directed stuff and produced stuff. And
Yeah.
when everybody is sort of working together and sort of in it for, the right reasons, in a sense, the team of it, and not sort of themselves, I think you can create kind of amazing things.
Yeah.
It's just sort of believing it. And I feel like this show has they've done a really good job at sort of fostering that environment. And I feel like the
Yeah.
product shows because of that.
And I lied to you. I promise this is going to be my last question. Because I love that you mentioned your writer, producing and director background as well, because you definitely have your hands and have had your hands in each of those buckets. Which do you prefer? Like being more so behind the scenes or on the screen? And which do you feel like you're better at?
All good questions. I would say I think my true passion is acting and always has been. It
Mhm.
was sort of why I came to LA. It was why I got into this business. It was something that I knew from a very early age that I wanted to pursue. So it's my first and true love. Uh,
Mhm.
Writing was sort of born out of not getting a lot of opportunities as an actor, or not a lot of opportunities to be seen as an actor in different ways, as opposed to sort of being stereotyped into one thing. And
Mm.
so writing with my writing partner Jim Rash was sort of a desire for us to be seen differently and to write
Mm.
things is for us to show that we can, that we are more layered and we have a better range than what we're being sort of brought in for. And I think writing is the most challenging. I have the
Mhm.
hardest time with that because
Okay.
I am probably, you know, I'm a more social person, and writing sometimes can feel very isolating and solitary.
Mhm.
It's the reason I write with a partner, because I can't really do it on my own because I feel too, just like
Yeah.
in my head where I'm like, oh, no, that's terrible. Oh, no, that's also terrible. So I lean heavily on Jim, who is an amazing writer and terrific writer, and somebody who, I lean on heavily for that. Directing, I find to be probably the most overwhelming and anxiety
Mhm.
producing and challenging, because you are
Wow.
sort of in charge of everything, and the questions that come, are 1,000 a minute. What paint do you want on the wall? Where do you
Mhm.
want to put the camera? Do you like what this person's wearing? And on top of just the trying to deliver, put the script on the screen. So there's so many things that, are put in your face that is very hard to sort of just keep a very, calm demeanor towards. But I will say, I think directing maybe is the most, or can be the most rewarding, because of
Mhm.
the weight that it sort of, is forced on you, because I think it's such a heavy lift, and it's so much
Mhm.
work, and it's so much of your brain and time. But then as a result, sort of the end product, I think you feel the most rewarded and the most gratified by, because you've
Yeah.
done so much of that work, and
Mhm.
people relied on you to do it, and then you put out something that actually got put out into the world, and you feel, I think, the most, like I said, you feel rewarded for that journey that you were on. So they all offer sort of different, um, they all offer different things, and I like them for all different reasons.
Yeah.
And whatever at this point just keeps me working, I like to do.
I'm happy I asked you that question. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
Listen, it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for making time for this conversation. And
absolutely.
I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Happy birthday to you as well.
I know. Thank you. We'll talk soon, Nat.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye.